Want to know how to create a beautiful card like this? Then watch today's silhouette seminar and I'll show you how. Hiya, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts with another silhouette seminar for you. Now we have previously looked at the various different buttons on the screen, the sizing, how to put images onto the mat, the virtual mat, etc, etc. So today the next stage in our silhouette seminar is how to do a cut. Now obviously that is like the main thing that we need to learn how to do with our silhouette. So we're going to start off with a nice simple cut because we want to learn the basics of cutting first and then start worrying about layers, etc. So I'm going to be starting off with a single layer cut. Now don't think, oh, that sounds really boring or whatever, because you can create a really nice card or project with that. So without further ado, we're going to go straight into my library here and I'm going to pick up a single layer cut. Now just to show you things like this, these are all single layers. Now they may be nested, but if you separate them, they're single layers. You've got things like this silhouette, you've got sentiments. If you go in, I've got these all separated into different categories. You've got these dinosaurs, the bike, you've got this other silhouette. So you've got lots and lots of different types of image that you can use that are single layer cuts, and you can see from that you can still get some really good stuff. I mean, all these doilies, all single layer cuts, so it's all good fun stuff that can create some really gorgeous cards and projects. Now I'm going to be going into this category here and I'm going to be cutting out a ballerina. I thought it would be really fun just to do a really girly dance card, so I'm going to click on that and it puts her on the mat. Now if you want to know a little bit more about putting the images on the mat, etc., go to the corresponding blog post with this video and it will link up all the previous silhouette seminars, so if you haven't seen them you can look at those and see exactly how all that's done. So we're going to, again, same with the sizing, I go into that in more detail in a previous video, so I'm just going to be concentrating on the things that we're doing today, which is the cut. So you've put my ballerina on the mat, I'm going to grab a corner and I'm going to size her down. Now I'm doing her onto a A6 card, which is approximately 4 by 6, so that's going to be too tiny. I'm just going to take it to about that, I think. Whoa, far too much. Let's do her at about 5 inches high. I think that would be great. So it's about 5 by 3, so that's perfect. I'm going to pop her in the corner here. Now I'm positioning her in a position that makes it easy for me to match my paper that I want to cut her in on my mat. So I've got my virtual mat here, and on my real mat I'm going to put some paper down that I'm going to cut this cut out from. Now to make it easy for me to understand exactly where to put the paper on my real mat, it's simple to put these images into the corners if you get the choice. So I'm popping her in the corner and then I can stick my paper into the corner as well. I'll be able to see exactly that it's the correct amount because I can look at my virtual mat and I can see, well, she comes to, and it even highlights it across the top here, but if it comes to just about 3.5 inches, and on the downside it comes to about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5, not even that really, but you've got approximate size. So then I'm going to go to my real mat, I'm going to add the paper and we're going to check that that paper is nicely sized and it will be bigger than the cut. So let's go across to the mat. Okay, so you can see on the mat here that I've put my paper on and we can count across here. Well, we can see here it says 5. So we've got a paper that's approximately 4.5 inches wide. Now if we compare it to our virtual mat, we know that we need a minimum of 3.5. So we are well within that because it comes up to about here. So that's fine, our paper's coming down like that. So let me show you with a box. I'm going to just put a box on, we're not going to really use that. It's just to show you where our paper is actually sitting on our mat. So our paper is actually sitting at, if you watch the red line, the paper is coming out to 4.5 inches. So we can see from that that our image is well within it. And In my case, the paper goes pretty much all the way down to the bottom of my page here, so we're more than enough of the paper on the mat to fit our image. Now if, for example, we just popped her over in the middle here, but we popped our paper over to the edge on the real mat, then you can see you'd end up cutting through our ballerina. So it's just a case of making sure that your virtual mat matches up to your real mat, and this simple sort of rule will help you considerably when you get onto layers. So it's something to keep in your mind to make sure that it always matches up. So we're going to get rid of that box because that was just for demonstration purposes only. We're going to make sure that she's over in the corner again, and make sure as well that none of the red line of your cut is going outside the red line on this virtual mat. Now I have to say I always like to leave just a little margin of white around the edges here, just in case for some reason we're just slightly off when we put the mat in. It just gives us a little margin to make sure that the cut actually gets all the right into the mat. Okay, so we're going to now go across to the actual silhouette, and we're going to take our mat and we're going to line it up. There's a little line just down here, so you can see that line is just there, and that's what you want to line your mat up to, the edge of your mat. When you put it on the silhouette ready to load, you want to line the edge up with that, and that will make sure that you get your mat in perfectly straight and in the right position. Okay, so then we're going to put that mat in and we're going to line it up, as I said, to that line. We're putting the edge of the mat just very gently under the very edge of this bar here. We're not pushing it in, we're just butting it up. You'll feel there's like a resistance. You're going to just kind of slide it in so it goes under that bar, making sure it lines up with that line there. And you can feel when you get to the point you have to stop, because it just kind of stops. You can see there. So once you've lined that up, making sure that you're holding it nice and straight, you're going to press enter, and that's going to load your mat. If for any reason it catches and twists, you need to just press enter again. It will unload that mat and you can start again. So then the next thing we need to do is go back to our silhouette. It's software, and we're going to set up the actual cut settings. It's something that you need to do before each cut, unless you already know that you've set it because you're continuing to cut from a previous cut a few minutes ago. So we're going to click on this little button here, which is cut settings, and then we've got various different settings here. Well, we don't want to do any of these ones, we just want to go straight here, and we want to find the type of paper that we've got here. So we've got like a patterned cardstock here, so we're just going to go down. We've got pattern paper. I'm just looking for like a cardstock. So there's cardstock, so you click on that and the silhouette suggests cutting settings for you. Now you don't have to stick with that. If you've used this before, this particular pattern paper or cardstock, and you know that that setting doesn't work for you, then you can do a custom setting. If it's a card or paper that you use regularly, like a brand, and you found a good setting, you can customize that and save it. But I'm not going to do that at this point. We will do that in a future silhouette seminar, so we're not going to get into that at the moment. All we need to worry about is, are we happy that that's correct and these things are correct? Now I'm pretty happy with that, so what I now need to do is go to my blade itself and check that it is actually on number 4. You can see here that it's recommending number 4. So we're on here on our, this is our blade housing on our silhouette. So all we're going to do is turn that to the left. Inside there is our little blade, and that's here, so just watch yourself on the end there because that will be a little point. And at the moment you can see the little red notch is by the number 7, and we want to get it round to the number 4. Now unlike our cricket, you have to remove the blade housing and then you twist it in this little device. There's just a little plastic hole here, and you pop it in with the red facing, well, it will just naturally slot in, but the red dot is normally facing the front, and then you're going to twist the little housing just round to the left or the right till the number lines up. There's like a little
line at the front, and you just line it up till the number of the blade that you want is at the front, and then you pop that out, and then you just double check, is the little red dot by the number 4, which it is, so we're happy with that. And then we're going to pop that back in. It will naturally go in a certain way. There's no kind of, it has to have the red dot at the front or anything. It'll just fit in where it needs to go. And then just turn that back to lock it, and we're ready to go on the blade, and silhouette is all prepared.
So then all we need to do now is click on here, send to silhouette, and it's going to sync up
with the silhouette, and off it goes. Now if you're not sure whether the blade depth etc is correct and the pressure for the cardstock that you've got, you could do a tiny test cut, but again I will look at these things in a future silhouette seminar. Okay, so that's that finished cutting, and then what I sometimes do if I'm not sure about the paper and I've just taken a chance, if I don't unload it, I can check now before I unload it whether it's cut through properly. If it hasn't, because I haven't unloaded it, I can send it to cut again, and it would go through it again as a second cut round, and that would probably cut it, and it would do it in the same place because we haven't unloaded it. Now all I do is I pick up my mat here and I just check where there's a little cut just by curling it. Quite often it pops up and you can see whether or not it's cut through cleanly. In this case it has, so that's great. And all I'm going to do now is eject the mat by pressing our enter key here and catch it because it falls on the floor. And then all you want to do is very gently take your excess paper off. I usually like to do it that way around, especially if we're doing layers. It's just getting into the habit. And there's our lovely lady all cut out, and isn't that beautifully cut? And you can see already how just doing a single layer you can still create amazing looking projects.
And then on our Silhouette Studio here we are finished, so all you need to do then is just click off this here and it will come back to normal, so you can carry on working. That's it on the software, so we're just going to pop the card together and show you what that is.
Okay, so here's our card. So all I did was I matted and layered the 2 pieces of cardstock. I had the black the same as the ballerina, then I added this gorgeous pink which is from the same Anna Griffin set I think, and then just put her on. I did it as a flat card. I stamped birthday wishes in the corner from a paper tray ink set and added some gems, and the card base I created from a piece of Hunky Dory holographic card, and you can just catch that around the edges and also on the back. So that is it, and I think you'll agree that even though it's a simple cut, it comes out looking really, really nice. So I hope that you've enjoyed this silhouette seminar, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.